So those are the essences. There's around 172 of those, and they're fantastic in many ways, but they had to come through first. But since 2012, and 2012 was the key year, the gods and the goddesses have been coming through. And the reason is very simple. We're in a process of deep transformation in our earthly lives. And that transformation is coming out of the dark age, when there's been a lot of evil energies in the world. There's been a lot of dark energies that have really held humanity down. There's been a huge amount of suffering in the human race for many reasons, not just health, but every form of psychological, emotional, spiritual, physical suffering has been going through because of these dark energies. And the divine beings have said enough. The human race had to learn the value of the light, which we have done. And now, since 1988, actually, when the black ray, which was a major energy of evil, which had a lot to do with what was going on before that time, stopped, and the ceasing of the black ray then meant that the light could start coming through. And that's what I'm doing. I'm bringing through that light. And so, first of all, the essences came, now the gods and goddesses. And the whole process kicked off in Japan, actually, in the year 2012, when I went to the center of the Japanese Shinto faith, a place called Ise. And now, those of you that have been to Japan will know that Ise is quite near a place called Nagoya. You go from Tokyo to Nagoya, then you take the train out to Ise. And Ise is full of shrines, and these Japanese shrines are very sacred places. And the most sacred of all the Japanese goddesses, the highest one, is called Amaterasu. And Japan is a goddess culture, and she was the first goddess to be made. And basically what happened was I went to the shrine of Amaterasu right at the beginning, before I did any teaching in Japan at that time. And they opened the inner temple for me, which is something that's almost unheard of, that the inner temple should be opened for a foreigner. But they opened the inner temple and then amazed me by making a special ceremony to bless my work with the sea and butterfly essences, because they were tuned in and they knew that I was bringing the divine will and the divine energy down to the earth. So they gave me a big blessing. And as they blessed me, so the goddesses were initiated right in the center of the temple of Amaterasu. That goddess was with me. I call her Sahula, and she is the female power strength goddess from the solar planes. And she was with me, and she said, now we are initiating the goddesses. And it was 3 years later when I was teaching my first teacher's course in Japan, since going out by myself away from Orosoma. That was when the teachers then requested we'd like goddess essences. And I said, well, let me talk to the goddesses. And they said, no, we want to have elixirs. We want to have something that's a very precious thing, more than an essence, because an elixir is a precious liquid, something beyond value, which has the divine goddess energy, but a whole range of other energies as well. And so the whole process of making the goddesses started with that teacher's course in 2015, but was initiated in the temple of Amaterasu in 2012. And it was actually 2016 that I started the process of bringing through the goddess elixirs. But every single path of that process came together perfectly, because it was all in the divine plan. You see, everything that I'm doing now has been planned from above. I'm simply following a a map or a plan that's been made. And so each of these goddesses and gods have come as part of the divine plan to support us, to uplift us, and to bring us to a much better place in our lives. And Catherine said just a couple of things. Well, I've had multitudinous experiences with the gods and goddesses, and I have a lot of feedback from people too, saying what wonderful changes they have made in their lives and how they've really helped them. And we still sell so many gods and goddess elixirs because people like them so much, because people want them so much.